over the next 4 years, the tech, internet, and media sectors are expected to add more than $1.1 trillion of global growth. That's according to Activate Consulting's 2025 Technology and Media Outlook. Delighted to say that the company's CEO, Michael Wolff, is with us now. And, reading the report, it's not just the density of it or the global nature of it, but actually the near-term jump that you see. It's the 2025 outlook. But by the time you get to 2028, these are big numbers. What are the sort of top-line conclusions you've drawn?
A couple of things. First of all, we're talking about roughly $400 billion in incremental revenue to the consumer technology and media businesses, and another $700 billion additional revenue dollars for B2B. What you see is B2B is going to grow much faster, 3 percentage points faster than the consumer side of the business. And as we look at this, we're very optimistic because there's still going to be a lot more money coming into these businesses.
Can you spell out a little bit, Michael, of the underlying data you use to get to these numbers? How have you factored in this level of growth?
Well, we spend an entire year doing a tremendous amount of both consumer and B2B research. We take apart all of the plans for the major companies. We look and see the underlying things that are driving growth. And as a result, our forecasts reflect really a mosaic of everything that we see going on and where we believe that's going to translate into revenue growth.
The reason that Caroline's question is so good and so important is that within the report, you attribute quite a lot of what's going to happen to generative AI. And on this program, whether it's an investor or a company executive or us as journalists, I still think we're finding it really hard to see the money coming out the other side of all of the investment into the infrastructure behind AI. Take us there, Michael. Generative AI leading to sales growth.
Yeah, we're not looking at it that way. We're not looking at there are specific forecasts for the use of generative AI, but most of what we focused on the consumer side is increases in consumer time with technology and media. And in the case of enterprise, it is not money that those companies are going to get from generative AI. It's actually the amount of money that they're going to get from both pricing for additional penetration of their consumer of their B2B applications. So we're not specifically forecasting some number for what generative AI is going to be growing.
We get that.
Do you think, though, that there is hype around how much return on AI there will be? What's interesting, I was speaking with the IBM CEO earlier this week, and his key point was, at the moment, it's still really costly. Yes, eventually we're going to get there, and CEOs want to be bringing in generative AI to their companies, but it's not easy enough for enterprise right now, and it's really too expensive. Is that something that you're feeling and hearing?
Yeah, and I think this is an amazing hype cycle, and there's going to be a lot of specific applications. It's unlikely that any of those applications, though, are really going to provide huge amounts of additional revenue to these companies. In many cases, it's going to be increased functionality. It's going to be better tools, but we're not stepping back and saying, let's predict what's happening in the market based on generative AI. We keep looking at this from the perspective of what's going to happen in terms of specific sales of what's existing out there rather than betting what could be coming.
We're short on time, but one other nascent area you're looking at is AR. I was fortunate to spend some time with Orion, Meta's concept. Tell us about your forecast there. I find it fascinating.
Well, we're forecasting 54 million headset shipments by 2028, and it's really underwhelming. It's equivalent to 4% of smartphone sales. We believe that they're going to be a great deal more because we are counting on much more sophisticated headsets. The other thing is it is a place where the AI is already here, and so the AI is ahead of the device versus the other way around.